Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine.
Are you okay?
Good.
Thank you very much. Actually, my name is Heritier Barekeriyo. I am a student in the Bachelor of Art program of the College for America at Southern New Hampshire University. And I am conducting this interview as a part of my academic work. With your consent, I will record this interview and use the information in the street interview video that I am working on for a goal that is called Contribute to the Society. The project for this goal is about the government and you. The interview will be used to create a street interview video and submitted to the College for America so that my project can be evaluated. So this recording will be used for salary for this purpose because I can't tell you take you a video without telling you the purpose of this. So the interview information will be temporarily stored in the College for America online evaluation system, to which only the evaluator and the College for America staff will have access. So do you actually have any question about that?
Surely, I don't have an issue.
So if you don't have any question, do you give your consent to be interviewed and recorded?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. Actually, if you accept to be recorded, would you please read this statement?
Yes. I, Alphonse Sinitejika, give my informed consent to participate in this interview to be recorded and use it as part of student academic work.
Thank you very much, Alphonse. So I have some questions that I'm going to ask you so that I can know if you have some knowledge about the U.S. government.
Yes.
So the first question is that, what are the three branches of the U.S. government?
If I try to remember, I'm not sure, but
Go ahead.
I'm going to reply you according to my understanding. So there is legislative, judicial, and executive.
Oh, yeah. I can hear that you know, sir. So if I can ask you, what does each branch do?
That is a trick. But legislative is the way of making the laws and they try to adjust them if they can fit to the people's needs.
Okay.
Then executive, the way to execute those laws in the implementation processes. Then judicial is the way of to criticize and analyze them so that they can be able to manage the citizens.
Thank you very much for this question. I can hear, though you are adopting, but see, maybe you are true.
Yeah.
Okay, the third question is that, we say that the Democrats and the Republicans are the major parties. Can you name the third party?
Actually, as we know, there is a Republican and the Democratic, those are the particular parties which are well known.
Yes.
But without losing the much time, because I'm not sure that I may be specifically tell you about some parties, but other parties, beyond all excluding Democratic and Republic, those are the third parties.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Good. So the last question is that, Mr. Alphonse, what is the basic process by which a bill becomes a law?
Just I'm caught in a trap.
Sure. Just try.
My friend.
Try to remember. You can make it.
To remember. No, it's like remembering the death of somebody you don't know.
Thank you very much. Yeah, actually you tried it. I liked your responses. Yeah, they are just somehow helpful, and I congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you give your consent to be interviewed as and recorded to this video?
Yes.
Thank you very much. If you agree with me, just would you please read this statement?
I, Jambo Skomugumyaniko, give my informed consent to participate in this interview to be recorded and used as part of the student academic works.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Actually, there are some questions that I'm going to ask you so that I can know if you have some background information about the U.S. government. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
So the first question is that, what are the three branches of the U.S. government?
According to what I know, the three branches of U.S. government are judicial, legislative, and executive.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So what does each branch do if you have some knowledge?
Actually, legislative focus on creating laws and looking if they are very well followed and implemented.
Yeah.
Executive, it's all about to execute, to implement the laws in the
Yes.
country, and judicial, it's all about courts. It's about supervising if everything is going in as planned by the government or the executive branch.
Yeah, actually, I can hear that you have some knowledge about that.
Yeah.
So the third question is that the Democrats and the Republicans are the major parties.
Yeah.
So can you give me like the name of the third party?
I don't know another third party in America except that I know Democrat and Republican.
But the third one we don't know.
I don't know
It's
actually.
okay, it's
I
okay.
don't know for sure.
Okay, the last question is, what is the basic process by which a bill can become a law?
Can you come again?
I mean,
Yeah.
what is the basic process by which a bill becomes a law?
I don't know exactly.
Sure.
Sure.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you for this time, and I congratulate you for the knowledge that you have about the U.S. government.
Yeah.
I really liked your answers.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello. Uh, in this part, I'm gonna explain all questions that I've been asking during the street interview, so that I can make clear understanding about the branches and the function of the U.S. government. You know, knowing the U.S. government function, how it is composed, it can lead someone to understand how there is evolution, the political evolution in the country. So some questions are there, but without having the clear understanding or clear knowledge about them. We are there as citizens, and we see things happening, but we don't know the origin, the source of those things. But understanding the political function, the political system of the U.S. government, this can help us to know what is the origin. If there is this law, where it came from, how it started, if there is this kind of rule, who was able to make the rule or the law. So the following questions will just help us to understand and evaluate and know more about the political system. So about the three branches of the government, we all know, as the people that have been interviewing said, there are the executive, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. So these three branches, they are just there for interacting each other. So the executive branch, this is composed by the president and at least like about 5 million workers in America. It is this branch is just in charge of enforcing the law that are made by the legislative branch. We cannot just we can retain we can just think that or accept that the executive is led by the president. So the president of the US is the one who administrates the executive branch. So when it comes to the legislative branch, this you have to know that this branch is just there for creating laws. They sit and they think about a given case which need to be regulated, and they just come up with ideas so that they can see if this can be a law or not. So the legislative branch is a part of the government which is also called the Congress. It involves Senate and House of the Representative. It deals with making laws, as I've been saying, and as my previous interviewed people said also. Just deals with creating laws, making laws, so that the political system in the country can keep working in a good harmony. So when it comes about the judicial branch, we have been seeing that if there is a given case, they have to create a law, but the law can't be alone, or it can't be created by one branch. One branch can create a law, another branch can examine the law and see if it is probably, it is fair, or just, yeah, it is fair, or it's not biased. So if the law exists, there is a president who must sign the law so that it can keep working. So the law exists because there is a case which they saw that can disturb the good or the well-being of the community. So there must be the judicial branch. This judicial branch, it just deals with the making a follow-up about the law and see if it is being applicable in its good system. So it is just there to supplement the court and the law court. It includes 9 justices. These 9 justices are experts. They deal with breaking laws, people breaking laws. They just deal and see how they can judge those cases according to the constitution of the country. That is how these 3 branches are made and are functioning. So, in what's about the function of these 3 branches, as my interviewed people during the street interview said, the legislative branch deals with electing laws. The executive branch, it is just there for executing the laws which are created by the legislative branch. And the judicial deals with the conflict which are just related to the violation of the law, but according to the constitution of the country. So the question here is that how are these 3 branches connected each other, and how do they regulate each other? So here we can know that if there are 3 branches, the mislead or the mistake of one branch can lead the other 2 branches to fail. Or if you can deduct one branch from the 3 branches, the other 2 branches which stay, they cannot make anything, because the good functioning of one branch can allow the other one to work and the third one to work. For instance, if the legislative are there for electing laws, they are not the one to sign the law or the bill to be called as a law or to be implemented. Legislative are there for just electing law and push the law to the executive and the judicial system. For the executive, we have the president and like 5 million people who are working with the president. And there, the president must sign the bill so that it can be called as a law. You understand that if the legislative is there, it can do something and send something to the executive. The executive also must approve that situation so that it can be having just a good harmony in the community. But the president, the executive is not also the end of the process. After the president executes that or approved in the executive branch, the judicial system is there for it to having like to making a follow-up about what have been created. You understand? They are interconnected. They work hand in hand so that each branch can do things which are beneficiary to the community and the all citizens in America. That is how this process, this branch are interconnected and they work together just in order to ameliorate, to improve the life of Americans. So searching to know how do they regulate each other, is that this law is the check and the balance. This is because in the absence of one, another can't work. Because, the executive can't execute a law which the legislative didn't elect. So it means, for instance, we remove the legislative. The executive branch will stay there, the judicial branch will stay there, but they will be closing their arms without having the laws or something, some rules to execute and making follow up about. This is how they regulate each other, and because just as I'm saying, they are check and balance. You check from this sent from this one sent from this one, and another again, so that they can keep that harmony in their regulations. So for the third question that we had to know about the major parties and another third party, is that the two major parties in America are the Democrats and the Republicans. Those are the major parties in America. But apart from these two major parties, we already have other many parties which are aside from these two major parties. We call them the Green parties. As some of my interviewed people were just failing to announce or to just to figure out which was that party, but from here we have to notice that the third party is called the Green Party. That's the combination of many parties, but they are not considered as the major parties, as we can say the Democrat and the Republican um, system. So the Democrat and the Republican, they just started the system in 1790 century. Although in the founding father of the United States, they did not just originally intend for the American politics to be the president in that year, but they just sit together and see that it is better to organize these two parties so that the politics system from this movement and the one from this movement can lead them to know and to just to make good politic evolution of the United States. So if these green parties exist, they can have a big role to play in the politics system in the United States. So which role, which impact do they have in the United States system, in the United States politics system? So the impact of the third party, which is Green Party, as I'm saying, is that this third party, they also serve on the important role in the politics of the system by just they can force the major political parties to address new issues they might not have previously addressed. For instance, if just these two parties are there, they know that we are the major parties. Everything you can do, just we are the only people to know about the problem that the community is facing. But they might have forgotten something which is very crucial and important. That is the place where the third party comes to play a big role. That in that case, the third party can come and the, address to the political parties, these which are the major parties. They address new issues that they might have not previously addressed very much. It's like forcing them to do something. And also, the third party candidate They can also greatly impact on election by taking away the vetoes from major political party candidates. They are there for just looking out so that they can't make any mistake during their power. That is how they operate. So, for us to respond well about the last question, which was about the process that a bill must take in order to become a law, is that actually many interviewed people in the street interview just were unable to just to come up with a good process or an answer. But here we can retain that both the House and the Senate must approve the conference report after both the House and the Senate have approved a bill. Just it is identically formed and it is sent to the president. People come with ideas and they make a conference. They evaluate the ideas during the conference, and there they can just approve and see that it is fair and it is supporting and it is for the purpose and the interest of the community. From there they just send to the president. So if the president approves, because the president has like 10 days to approve that bill. If the president approves, he can immediately sign that bill so that it can become a law. But in the 10 days, if the president doesn't approve that, it can lead to the death of the bill. Sometimes, just some cases we say the bill is born, the bill grow up, the bills just can keep working, or it can die. It can die. That in case the president refuses to sign the bill, it immediately dies. So if he signs the bill, it becomes a law immediately. So the role of the sponsor in this case is that sponsor in the U.S. Congress is the first member of the House of the Senate to be listed among the potentially numerous just lawmakers who must immediately introduce a bill for the consideration. The sponsors are there to sponsor the bill to be considered. They are just there to hold on, to keep the force of the bill so that it can be considered. The committees are just there to accordingly identifying as just sponsor of legislation as well, also just so that the bill can keep working without even any background or impact that it can have. So the role of the committee is that the committee is there to receive a bill which is addressed or a bill which was introduced. The committee is there to receive that bill. So from here, we can think about the role of the debate. If the debate is there, it's just because people want to think and to just to come up with a tangible reason which is fair to everyone, which can be applied so that no party will feel like it is just being dominated in that decision. So during the debate, the Senate, uh, this is the just the function of the majority leaders. It's that from the chambers so that they can take a good decision. Chambers of the legislative branch has a different process for voting and amending the bill after they are introduced in this system, so that we can know which majority of people are supporting, which minority of people that is supporting the bill. So it is also important to think about the role of voting. Just here is where just we have the final decision. If you are voting people who are agree, who are disagree, it is here that we have to have the common understanding and the majority voices. So voting is it is an ultimate in the legislative process. So when a bill is just passed by the Senate and the House of the Representative, it is sent to the President for its signatures. Many people have been discussing, were there, parties, branches were there to discuss. Then it is time for the President to sign the bill which was voted. So he can sign the bill into just a law or just veto it. In the case the president just doesn't want to sign it, that the law can die or it can be sent back to the Congress so that they can review some or weaknesses that that bill is having. Thank you very much for watching this video. I think by watching this and knowing about this function, every citizen can be able to understand the function of the US government. Thank you.